but what if we just do audio?
Um, I think no, we might not get flagged. We could try it and see what's up, but I don't believe we'll get flagged. But we
Uh,
live, man. We live.
yes, sir.
We live, man.
Thank you, Mr. Hegan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, love. Happy Monday, y'all. Happy Monday.
It's Monday. Yeah,
This is the only day I ever know of the week because we doing this. I ain't got
man.
to. I got to think about it. It's good, my brother.
That's good, man. How was it? It's been
We didn't
it is
coordinate, but we got different types of blue and shit.
yeah,
So yeah,
almost there,
so
almost there. I mean, you in the lands, the motherlands over in the tropics.
you know what I'm saying? I had
So
to touch in. We had to touch
yeah,
in with nature. If it's different, it's different. It's a nice little breeze.
I see that, man. That's good, man. So how would you say you're feeling today, man? Oh, shoot.
Better than it was a tough week.
Yeah.
I'm feeling better though. It's like, it's nice to do this and then get to experience the week and then tap in like once it got around and not for any Knicks reasons. It wasn't tough for the Knicks. But but but
Nah,
that
it
was a
was
tough
tough for
loss,
the
New
Knicks,
York, right? That
man.
was tough.
It was
But
tough for the Knicks.
that was actually for me, like because the week was already tough. That was almost like a closing, like
Mhm,
close
mhm.
the casket, and we just like ride this out like together. I yeah,
Oh
all New York
man,
was sad.
Everyone in New
Uh,
York was sad, man. Let me tell you, so yeah, so starting off today, I do feel sad. however,
yeah, man.
however, not as sad as I think as I am proud. I think I'm more proud than sad because, I it's the Knicks, man. We haven't made it in a while. I think it's just happy to be here type of situation. They worked hard and like I don't know that anyone had them going this far at the beginning of the year. So I think it's an accomplishment. And again, just haven't seen it in a while. So to me, I'm just proud. I'm trying not to be that bitter fan that had these expectations and then whoa, is me. I want to see the Knicks in the finals. Like I'm sure the dudes who are busting their ass every day and who actually wear that jersey want to be in the finals too. And they're
For
actually doing
sure, for
something
sure.
about it. So I was just happy, man. I wore my jersey the when you got me the next day. And
Dang.
I went out and I got stopped. People at the function were like, "Come on, man, you gonna wear the jersey today, man? Come on, man." I was like, "Yeah, man." It was like, "Come on, I'm too sad." I'm like, "Yo, I'm grieving too."
It, it
I'm like,
hurts to see.
yeah, I'm grieving too. I was telling them, but it was a good time because I got to talk to folks about
That's
the same thing
hilarious.
I just said right now, which is like, I'm also just proud, man. So I am gonna wear it because, like, yeah, man, yeah,
Love to
yeah,
that.
we made
Love
it.
to
You know what I
that.
mean? Made it to the
And
Eastern
that's why
Conference
I got you that
Finals.
jersey because it was like,
Got two
they go hard
wins.
on Towns, bro.
Yeah,
They go hard on him, bro.
nah, they work
And it's
hard,
like,
man.
nah, hold on. Like,
You
what's
know,
up?
because when he's busting his ass and he helped us win, and in that game in Indiana, like we were
Yeah.
singing his praises
So
there,
it
and
don't be a typical to your point. It's very typical
yeah,
of New York fans, like especially since I had the season working with MSG of like seeing it closely, like they're very emotional. Like they don't want to even deal with it. So that's why it's very hot and cold. Like I'm either really riding with you, which is only when you're hello bandwagon, or I'm really cold because like nah, I don't know, they don't gonna show up.
hmm
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting being in the Knicks fan.
yeah, man. Like, so, but we had that moment. I
I'm
think it's
happy to
awesome.
hear that you did that though. I'm happy to
Yeah,
hear that.
man. I had to represent. I was like, nah, man, wearing this jersey because I didn't wear it the night before, and I thought of wearing it the night before while watching the game. So,
I ain't gonna lie to you, I felt weird. I was thinking about having the hat on, but my shit was real orange, and it was like, damn,
yeah,
I, I just don't want to have the conversations. Like niggas always look at you, yeah, like yo,
yeah,
right?
yeah. But
You
hey,
know, yo, but we
listen,
did our thing though, right? Reached their
yeah,
hand out, like,
yep.
uh,
That's it, man. You
like,
gotta. Why not? Why not?
yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
And but we
To your
appreciate it.
point, man, they didn't expect them, especially with that road going against the Celtics. Like once it got to like, oh, we gotta face the Celtics,
Everybody thought they
that's
were
when you
done.
started
Yeah.
seeing, yeah, that's when you started seeing regular New York fans. It was like, yeah, y'all talk mad shit. Like they were sitting on Bridges crazy. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
then they were sitting on Carl Anthony Towns,
Yeah.
Brunson, of course. But now when they're losing, now Brunson got to pass the ball. Very Kobe, right? Very Kobe, like.
Yeah, and it's like if real fans should know what's up, man. And I think we gotta just let that
Yeah.
go and really be ourselves and just
Ride with your
appreciate
team.
and
Like,
ride with your team, man.
damn.
Appreciate them and remember, recall that it is hard
Ride.
work, right? I think I
Yeah.
think fan entitlement does get a little out of hand sometime, and we forget folks are human, So
Yo, we're
yeah,
all human, bro. Gosh, Jesus. Like,
these
you
athletes,
you
man,
you put the
you know.
jersey on. You were just a few inches away from being on the court yourself, my brother. If you would have done it, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people who try, and that if you succeed, and that's
Mm,
already a feat that you've gotten there, bro. That's
mm, yeah.
they man. And
So,
you know what I'm proud of too with them is that they didn't fold. They could have folded, bro.
hmm
But for some reason, the energy felt like, oh no, they really wanted to try to win. Like they wasn't gonna just hand it to you.
oh
Like
yeah,
nah,
that's for sure. I believe that.
Indiana, like that's why props to the Indiana team. Like nah, y'all had to go and fight and get that.
hmm
Every game, every game they had to fight and get that. That was fire.
OD, man, and I think that's what made them amazing. Even their comeback, um,
The
from
20-point
like the
comeback.
20-point comeback that they did twice or three times in the playoffs. So
Yeah,
them
shit was
dudes,
lit. Shit was
dudes,
lit.
you know what I'm saying? They
Nah, it
work
was lit. It
hard,
was lit.
man. Like you said, they could have gave up plenty of times. They could have got scared because it's Boston, and and they didn't. So and they
Because
won
Boston
twice.
didn't fold either. Like
No, right?
lots of everything. It was just a
Everything,
great season,
yeah, man, for sure.
and I like these two teams, man. How you like the idea of these finals? I'm not mad at it.
Um, I'm not mad at it either. It's definitely I think odd, but it's funny because I think we spoke about this last week that like there's been a different championship in the last 7 years or so. There's been a
Yeah,
different
yeah,
championship
yeah.
every time, so we
Yeah,
haven't had a repeat champion in like 7 years, and I think this is what we all wanted, right? We
yeah.
all wanted different champions to see somebody new. We didn't want to see nobody go on a three-peat, two-peat run no more. So um, this is different, man, from like last decade where it was run by the Heat, Cavs, well, LeBron and
You
the
had your
Warriors.
Spurs
You had
for
the
a bit.
LeBron. Well, LeBron, I say LeBron versus everybody else because LeBron went 8 times. So like
Yeah, yeah.
he basically went all of 2010s to the playoffs, to the
It's like
finals,
that's why they call
to
him
the
the king. It's like
finals.
the king gonna get a chance. Like the king gonna get a
Like
chance at the
that
crown
people
at the
don't talk about that
championship.
enough, but I do. So we, so yeah, it's definitely new to me. I mean, I am gonna watch it, especially because I'm not gonna try to be too because I watched more of OKC this season than Pacers. I'll admit. So
Mm.
it's good to
Yeah,
see.
that's probably everybody, bro. I can't lie, bro. That's everybody, bro.
So yeah, man. So it's funny we talked about this because it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Man, we want to give a shout out to that, man. Talking about these NBA players and the struggle they're going through and
Kevin
and
Love,
and
I feel like he pioneered talking about everything too. Shout out to
uh,
him real quick.
oh, that's right, Kevin Love. You said Kevin Love, right? Yeah,
hmm
yeah.
hmm
You know
he was on the court during one of the games. Like I think he went to see Indiana. I think maybe he was at the final one where he was just you saw him giving a big hug to Jr.
Oh yeah,
And I was
yeah,
like, damn, like winning the champion because they won that chip together in
yeah. Mhm,
Cleveland. Like
mhm, mhm.
it's just I love now we got just like real like not to sidebar real quick, but
Mhm.
just you see the podcast with a lot of NBA players, like prior
Mhm.
NBA players. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder if it's because that camaraderie, that brotherhood
Mhm.
that we're seeing that it starts. There's something there, good or bad, right?
Mhm.
Like what I'm saying, people got their clicks, but I just think that there's something there too that's real nice to see. Like for us as men to get together and start learning from each other. But yeah, men's mental health, man.
Yeah, no, it reminds me of like exactly what you mentioned, and it's funny you mentioned Kevin Love because I remember years ago, and I was able to pull it up now. He wrote, I thought it was big that he wrote, the Players Tribune platform he wrote up an article, man, called
hmm
"Everyone is Going Through Something," and it was like one of the first times I seen a NBA player post up, just talk about mental health, man. So he did. He goes through yeah his anxiety, like what he went through, like shakes, having panic attacks, and yeah and so it was beautiful, man. I was like, oh wow, that's cool that an NBA player stepped out and was able to come out with something like this. At least for those to speak to that community of players, or who's into the sport, or any athletes, or just any in general, any fan of basketball or his,
Oh,
and
you
more
know,
importantly other men.
yeah.
But I don't know if you
That
knew
spoke
about
to
this
me as
article,
just a
man.
man where that's actually, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so he wrote that one, and then he ended up contributing another article on around COVID, similarly talking about mental health. But I thought that was big, man. June is a big month, man, because it's
When did
that
he put that out?
that was
He,
2018.
uh,
2018, man. Yeah, I remember seeing it a while ago. It was him. It was another article that stood out to me as far as like players showing love. It was damn, I'm forgetting the player. It was a former New York Knicks player that wrote like a appreciation letter for Carmelo, and like
oh, that's what's up.
What Carmelo meant to him and his career, and it was just a way of him giving him his flowers. And I thought it was really dope to see a player publish something like this for all to see. I hope to get the name in a few, but yeah. Around this time, this article came out. That article came out too, and I thought that was pretty dope. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, I just know that I forgot that I didn't know he did another one, but this is what I was familiar with. And then after this, at the time, there was just, it was just, it felt like it was up from here. It might have not felt like it was up in
mm-hmm,
terms of like for him, like knowing like from only what I know from the outside looking in and what they're giving us, like his struggle, but it
mm-hmm,
seemed like it was up from here by just like letting go of that load of actually interesting, like enough is just going through what we go through. Like we
mm-hmm,
just have to talk about it. Like I've been I, I I've been kind of going through that journey myself of like trying to realize I'm like, damn, it's kind of interesting. Like I know I'm not going through anything. The logic is there that
mm-hmm.
it's not, you're not alone, you're not going through anything that anyone hasn't gone through, and you do have people to talk about, or you can at least even try, even if it doesn't feel like it goes, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
you can the logic of just don't give up on yourself is there. However, it's still not easy. You know what I'm saying?
no,
It's just still not easy. Like there's still moments of like where it doesn't even feel like it's just giving up. It's just you're tired. You know what I'm saying? So like for me, it's almost like a pit stop, but the pit stops I have no control over. Like how long the pit stop takes.
yeah,
You
man.
know what I'm saying? That's why I'm like when I think about NASCAR pit stops, you
It's
gotta
fast.
communicate
And
fast as fuck
communicate. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you gotta communicate. So I gotta get my team together. All right, here we go. All right, wake up, get some water. How you
Mm, mm,
feeling? How
mm,
you
mm,
feeling?
mm.
Maybe you should stretch. You should stretch. You
Research,
felt
yeah,
that, right?
yeah. That would be dope
Yeah.
to have that, man. But you're right. Yeah,
I think that's why I got
it's
back
tough to
into
do.
like cartoon movies like Inside Out. I was like,
Okay.
Inside Out's a great like. Oh, I relate to this. This is
Yeah.
life.
No, it's what you mentioned, man. It's just tough to do because it's not it. I think there's this awareness now. I think there's this overall awareness amongst men more that I'm sure previous generations seen more than I think we've seen ourselves be open when we were younger ourselves. But
Hmm.
now it's the doing part, right? It is the following through with some of these things, and especially taking care of our mental health. But I wanted to ask, did you
I'm sorry,
did
you're
you
cutting
know
off right there. Nah.
did you know it was originally Men's Mental Health Awareness Month? Like, is that something you already knew, or?
I did not know. I did not know. I'll be honest.
Oh
I
yeah.
did not know. Yeah, I did not know.
So the National Alliance on Mental Illness, which is here in the United States, has this up on their website just to acknowledge it. I mean, I did a quick Google search earlier, and there's not much as far as like even the White House releasing a statement to recognize the month. But yeah, this is what it says here. I thought this was interesting. It says there's often a strong focus on men's physical health, fitness, annual checkups, and heart health, but mental well-being is equally as important because mental health is health. Just as the body needs care and attention, so does emotional and mental well-being. Yet there's a silent crisis in men's mental health, one that often goes unnoticed or unspoken. Tragically, men are nearly 4 times more likely to die by suicide than women, underscoring the urgent need to break the silence and seek support. So yeah, and then they have some ways we could be folks can help. And I think, how can we help? Which is start a conversation, share resources, and create safe spaces, which is what we're doing here at the Manuscript. So shout out to that. And then they also have some stats down here, which again speak to that 4 times more likely, right? It says here that in 2023, amongst men age 18 or older, about 46% of them with mental illnesses receive treatment. So a little under half. And then it also says that, give me a second.
Many of it is culture because I'm over here fighting my smile because I'm like, damn, I'm a part of that untreated percent. Like, damn. Even though as because I'm like trying like self-treated first before,
Mm-hmm.
like for me it's like if like the self finds out, now it's self-treatment. And now if I become a problem, anything where anything out of control happens, like then maybe perhaps yeah, well not even maybe, yes, for sure get that help of medical, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just how I've
Mm-hmm.
go about it. Like, well, all the things that I felt inside, I said I had to change my my thinking, right? Like stop thinking something's bad's gonna happen to you, even if you feel it and may you have a hunch, like do something about it and have those be those thoughts of like, let me go and go for a run,
Right.
change what you eat,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I had to go through those things, and then all right, I still feel something. Now it's becoming a lot. Let me go to the doctor and have a conversation and get checked, right? Like, man, so I'm smart. I'm like, I'm untreated first for sure. And then
Yeah.
if it's extreme, I'll go to the hospital.
I mean, right here it says so in 2023 among U.S. men age 18 and older that 4.3% experienced serious mental illness in the past year. But again, that's what's reported. So I'm assuming they're getting their numbers. And I'm sure if I click on the image, it'll show me where they're getting the numbers from exactly. If I had to guess, they're
Right.
probably getting the numbers from like hospital, and sort of like not hospital records per se, but just like what they see in research. And I'm sure that number is obviously higher. There's no way
Right. Right.
4.3% of men experience serious mental health illnesses. Like, I mean, no way. I mean, you walk the streets of New York and you see like several people, and especially men who probably are experiencing serious mental illness. Um, so it's more than 4.3%, but that's what's reported. And again, just speaking to that cycle again, right? We're, how do we know these
But shouldn't you
things?
double that already if we're already being told that 45.9 go untreated, right? That's
Oh
untreated,
no,
right?
no, that they receive treatment. So
Also, but then that means
it's
54
55 or 54% they went untreated.
don't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then double your number of what you expect because you know that, right? Like, so this is almost like 10%.
Yeah. And so it's mental health awareness month as well, and
Yeah, man. Shout out
so
to that.
which also to me is funny, because I just learned about this. I think when was this? It's interesting because they don't usually say when did it start. I'm kind of curious about its history. I'm not too familiar about. Um, but I mean, June for me was always Pride Month. So shout out to LGBT folks, man. Um, the community, our people.
Excuse me.
Um, love
Yeah,
to them
love,
too,
love,
man.
love,
Because
love
I
to them.
think for me, June will still be Pride Month, man. It will still be Pride Month. I don't see it anyway. I thought it was odd to make Men's Mental Health Awareness Month during Pride Month. I think Pride Month should have stayed itself. I think Men's Mental Health Awareness Month
It's a little,
should
it
have
was a
been
little
like,
disrespectful, maybe.
yeah.
Maybe
It should have.
borderline,
I think it should have been
like
in
Gulf of
August.
America disrespectful. Like,
Yeah, kind of. I think it should have been in August, more like summertime. Summertimes are our vibes. The fellas like showing out in the summertime too. So I think summertime maybe should have, like August maybe should have been Men's Mental Health Awareness Month,
this is
and maybe
why I'm a
especially
little
because
bit.
drinking and substance use are all time high with us. Because that's another thing that this I find interesting about the stats, and that the fact that they're kind of like stressing the suicide part, because there's a lot of factors that go into men, and or just suicide in general, right? There's often substances involved. Um, people on. Yeah, there's a whole lot involved. So it's those numbers I think should go with some context as well. So that's pretty interesting, man. I think the whole point is that it's probably still a work in progress as far as how much love we show this month. you know,
Yeah.
but it is important, man. I hate that is I hate that is also in Pride Month, but I just like to look at it like, listen, it's all our time, right? So we could share it, man. I think there's a way that
Right.
there's an arena in which you could appreciate both. So if you're somebody who's still pretty uncomfortable and not, I mean, pretty homophobic, I think you could still, at the very least, while you can hopefully work on yourself and your mental health, maybe it'll drive you away from feeling homophobic. But yeah, man, because I remember when I first heard
You
about
know,
the mental health, it was like a battle between, like, I saw what I would read online, at least it would seem like there was like oh, of course they're gonna make mental health month on Pride Month, and we're always gonna lose out. Nobody's gonna take it serious, and I hate the complaining, man, because like it's up to us to make it serious, man. So if you feel like Men's Mental Health
true.
Awareness Month is being drowned out by Pride Month, then do something about it. Don't complain that Pride Month is loud about their. It's called Pride. Like, it's to be proud.
Right. Right. But also, like you said, like, but not do something about it, like, in a sense of, like, because then people get stupid and think about, like, eliminating. Not
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. Right.
support your cause, what you like to
Yes.
do. Is not about, like, one or the other, like,
Yeah.
having to, like, eliminate. Like,
Yes. You
you
said it better than
support,
me.
do
Yeah.
what you want to do.
Yeah.
Talk about mental health.
Yeah.
Do But so am I bugging when I think about, like, this is kind of where they were going with, like, when it was becoming popular of saying, like, Black History Month, Black History, you can't really compile into a month. That's the
Mm.
point. Like, so it's like Pride. It's like, why are we giving a month to sexuality? Like, that is the problem, that they can't live in their sexuality, without boundaries. You're
Mhm.
giving them a month. Like, do we have heterosexual month? No, you guys get what, every other year that you can just kind of be happy and express your love, and then
Yeah.
this is the month we get to express our love. Like, it should be normal, no?
No.
Like, men's mental health doesn't have to have a month where it gets addressed. It can just be addressed when it needs to be addressed.
Yeah. Which
Like,
at this point it should be every day, because based on what we got. I think there's also the historical context. I do think about, as you were mentioning, that is that at least for Pride Month, right? There's a reason for it, right? There's a long history of why it
I
exists.
understand, right?
Like,
Yeah,
they didn't give it, like, it was earned. Pride Month exists
right, right,
because
right.
people fought, and they did
But
the thing that you're talking about, right? They didn't just wait and complain that, like, oh, whatever, like, they were being persecuted. Gay people are still persecuted. Gay people are still killed, and they fought and fought to be recognized and make this their month. To the point, like, if you're uncomfortable or not, like, this is it. We're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna be proud, and we're gonna
right,
walk. And nobody in Pride act out. They don't use it as a month to fucking take out all their frustrations and anger on straight people, on heterosexual people, right?
right, right,
They don't.
right.
No one does that. However, every other day of the year, they're being persecuted, killed, hurt, assaulted, right? So I think, whereas men, I do feel a little cheap in terms of even trying to give this men's mental health a lot of love too much, because it's like, again, one, we got to fight for it, but two, what are we really fighting for when we get all the attention? I mean, let's be for real now. This
And we
so
suppress ourselves, man. We
yeah,
suppress ourselves, bro. Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
so interesting,
yeah.
man. Like,
We do. I do think we do suppress ourselves a lot of times, because, again, going back to the earlier, how we started this, right? Even when we know and we get to a place that we're aware of how important our mental health is, it's still freaking hard to do it, to, like, engage in those things. And so, actually, you want to jump right into, like, we were thinking about a little challenge, man, to for the month, to at least challenge ourselves in the way that
it
we
is fitting.
we
It's
can,
fitting.
um, because we also, talked about before even going on live, just us working on ourselves, ways that we can use this space, the month itself, to just be better, for the, lack of better words, to keep it plain, be better as people, be better as humans. And so, in the light of men's mental health, though, we thought of some things that I think are hard and sometimes difficult for men to kind of accomplish and do. Even though, like you were saying, Rob, like, we do certain things anyway to take care of our mental health. We probably don't just dig into it enough in our daily
Mhm.
practice, in our daily life. And so we want to kind of challenge ourselves to do some things. So, and we want to throw it out there for the rest of the month. We got some weekly challenges that we'll get on and talk about, and starting with us too, because Rob and I will take on this challenge as well to try to again work on our mental health, engage our mental health, and improve. So the first week, which is this week, the challenge will be to walk in nature. Walk in nature every day, at least for 30 minutes. Some of us, you know, don't walk much. We take the car places. So some of us, we walk every day because we walk to work. But I think if how our challenge meant, if you're in that situation where maybe you walk to work already, maybe try to take the route, a little longer route, and maybe one that includes a little bit more greenery. Walk through the park or the side of the park if you can, right? Be around some trees. Um, if you really want to go into it, I mean, take a moment to admire the trees, man. Sit there in nature and just kind of hear the silence, man. Today, I actually went
Yeah,
on.
yeah, I love to
Today,
that because I was just thinking I
yeah,
didn't want to interrupt, but the
no,
energy is important. As to
yeah,
when you're going through these things, the purpose and the focus is important, right? It's not just do it and then at the end you'd be like, yo, I didn't change nothing. It was like, but what happened? What was going on? Like
yeah. What was
then
going
they
on?
don't really know what was going on because they just wanted to get out of it. Nothing was going on, bro. I don't know, so, nothing was going on. That was the pro. Like stupid. It was just dumb. There's a
Yeah,
lot of judgment.
yeah. And I think we,
You
we
know,
we're often used to rushing through things. So
right, right.
um,
That's the
that's a
challenge.
challenge. So the first challenge for
When
the
it,
first week, man, of your mental health. I like that you pointed out, Rob. Right? You
no,
guys just to be
you
in it.
you kind of made me think
Yeah.
about it too because
Uh-huh.
I
Got to
you
be in
know,
it.
even, although I although that first one was like easy for me
Mm.
because I try to do that and implement that. Like when I realize like it becomes the challenge is when I start finding myself feeling some sort of uncomfortability in my norm, and then I try to cope in a way that disengages. Like right,
Mm-hmm.
like maybe I'm gonna like go. I'm not feeling my best, but I'm like knowing like man, I should go and do these normal things I do. I go for a jog, but I go for a jog in a place or during a time where I know that I'll avoid people. Right, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like there's good and bad to these things. Don't find yourself in a cycle where then you're that's because engagement is important. Like
Yeah, it is.
you know what I mean?
So I
Of course,
think,
honor, yeah, I know honor that you want your alone time, but
yeah,
it get crazy.
yeah. And for me, I think that does like an example I could also give as a way that you could kind of accomplish this is like I usually do have the privilege that I can ride a scooter or a bike to work. But I
Mm.
usually play music, and so the music between the music, I'm still kind of distracted, even though I leave one earbud open and the other ones I wear. So I listen to music low, so I could pretty much hear it, but it still distracts me because I can hear it. So today I chose not to listen to no music on my ride. Just ride through these streets and hear everything. Really
Mm.
take it in. Don't hear like the music. Just take that in.
I fucks with that. I hear you.
Because again, when I notice and I'm riding and I'm listening to music, I even though I'm riding and I'm paying attention, I can hear like other noise. The music is still there and I'm jamming to it. So
I feel
um,
you.
I kind of like I'm not
It's like a
taking in,
mood stabilizer
and
almost.
I'm noticing that it's just about the destination. I kind of don't really take in myself. So today I was noticing how much more I'm like, just even listening and hearing everything and kind of like being enjoying my ride and trying to be like again engaged and be present because
Love to that.
that is my time in nature. So this week I'm gonna challenge myself to actually
Yeah, you. I'm
walk.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
love to that. Love to
I'm
that.
challenging myself to kind of walk because again 30 minutes, so I have the privilege to do that, or if not, go on a walk. So ideally, one of these days, I hope to be able to go on a nice walk up to 30. So we'll report back how that goes, and then I mean we could review the rest of them. I'll review the rest of the challenges
Nah, as we
how
go,
we go
right?
through the
As
week.
we go.
You want to do it as we go?
You want to let's reveal like one or two, like, cause we just came
All
up with
right,
it. It
this
could
one and
change.
next week. Yeah, this one and next week.
Yeah,
No, I don't want it to change. I like what we came up with. That's something like I want it to stay the how it is.
yeah. You know what? Maybe if people can, I don't want people to start biting off of our shit. I want to see
Uh,
what people come up with their own. You know what I'm saying?
all
Like,
right. So for this week,
give us some,
we're gonna
give us
challenge
some thought.
ourselves to spend some time in nature for Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So, again, going back to like how we can choose to boost this conversation, um, it's starting with ourselves and engaging in our self care a little more intentionally. You know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
because to the point of how it starts, we do focus like as men. That was in high school. The first time thing I was introduced to it, where it was the wrestling team and the guys were like trying to bond. It was the gym. You know what I mean? It was physicality. But ironically enough,
competition.
the mental ego is what ended up being hurting my back because I wanted to show somebody without stretching the next day, like yo, because I'm working out with the wrestling team the after school. So
Mm-hmm.
when I hit a feat, no one got to see it except for them. So the next morning in gym class, I get to show everybody who's like doesn't stick around, yo, yeah, but I didn't think to stretch. And then I always think
Right
like
to it.
that. That's so funny how that one little slip up, you
For
know,
ego.
uh,
For ego to show
yeah,
off.
you know what I'm saying? And it don't gotta be bad. It's just undisciplined, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's lacking focus.
But that's in our
So
way.
lots of that.
Then it's in our way of connecting, man. I think that's our way of also connecting. That we do connect through these competitions, through these,
Yeah, for
through
sure.
like showmanship. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so as
Mm-hmm.
you were mentioning that, it made me think. So because the title of the today is about what does family mean to men. Um, and for some of us or a lot of us as men, our our sports friends become our family. Our sports teams become our family. A
Yeah,
lot of
well,
times. So those boys were your family at that time, right?
look
And
at the
or
Villanova
or
boys.
or it could be considered a family, right? I guess it depends on your definition of what family. So I guess you know part of the point of discussion for today, and partly one of the things that uh, sparked this conversation was also in June, right? We are just talking about Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, uh, of course, Pride Month, but there's also Father's Day. That's in June, right? Last month, in May, we did a live stream where we shouted out mothers twice for Dominican Mother's Day and United States Mother's Day. Um,
Let's be honest, we got better relationships with our mothers. All right, America, what you want to sue us? Let's be honest. It's obvious.
no,
When you
no.
say that, I laugh. I'm like, that's interesting. We shot them out twice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Honestly, I would. Yeah. Going on.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I think it's kind of it's been the running joke, no,
For
because
sure, for sure.
I don't remember Father's Day being as
Celebrated, yeah.
celebrated. I think it was less. It was like more of an obscure holiday when I
Significant,
was
yeah.
younger. Yeah, when I was in high school, I don't remember at all talking about Father's Day like that. Um,
Yes. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
but
Bec-
unfortunately,
bec-
it is a holiday. I mean, how I learned about it and its importance is that there is an agency here in New York City, Connect, New York City NYC. So shout out to Q, man. They do a lot of great work with men, preventive services, mental health, especially like offering mental health services to men. And so they used to coordinate and run the folks over there. Father's
we could
Day,
put up a link
the
to their page.
Father's Day pledge. Yeah, this is let me see, but I guess I don't think they're doing it this year, which I found a bit surprising to be honest. Because they usually do it every year.
Hmm,
Uh,
sucks.
yeah, I thought they were, but something could have happened. But they did it last year. It's the Father's Day pledge. I think it was 15 years. I'm trying to look for the for the f- for the page so I could put it up on. But yeah, I think it was the 15th annual last year, and they basically yeah they go to the Borough Hall steps of New York City. They invite a bunch of men and men from different organizations or men that work in these organizations or these communities uh, to stand together to make a pledge on Father's Day, and it's pretty cool. They read off a pledge to that as fathers, as men, as fathers of communities in many ways, um, that they pledge to take care of communities, to grow as men, to call out all the harmful behaviors that we see present in our community, and then we just pledge and vow to like um, fight for unfairness where we see it, right? Really to really use our strength for that cause, and so it's pretty dope. I participated. I spoke at the Father's Pledge a couple years ago. I would speak a couple times. I've done the pledge with them, and it's pretty dope showing of just different men. The young men show up. It's pretty dope. Um,
You
yeah,
like you had to present to everybody.
yeah,
Like
yeah. Like I spoke at the
speech up.
podium.
Let's
Yeah,
clap it up for that. It's not easy,
mm,
man. Shit, it's all about pay it forward.
yeah. So,
It's
um,
not easy.
so it's pretty
I
dope.
didn't know if you just showed up and it was like, if you were there for like a Q and A, if they had
No, no, no. They
questions
had
or
asked me prior to if I
so.
wanted to speak. Uh, if I wanted
Man,
to
I wish
speak
we had
already.
video footage of that.
Nah, just I think the what exists is the just a photo I have of it. But this is it right here. You see it? So here's their website.
15 annual. I see.
Yeah,
13.
yeah. That was last year. That was last year. So I'm
Right, I
showing you last year.
understand. He's saying that they're not doing it this
Yeah,
year. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it says join fathers
Interesting.
pledging for peace in our country, stay home, schools, communities, and against interpersonal, intimate partner, and institutional violence. So yeah, man.
Maybe
Again,
they're just revamping and doing it another way. Not gonna do it with the same organization, maybe.
well, or maybe just differently, because Connect is the organization that usually does it. So maybe they're working on something, but
Differently,
I had to
yeah,
reach out. But it's pretty dope. They do it right around Father's Day, and that's one of the ways I started looking at the holiday a bit more seriously through this event, because I do think it is important,
yeah.
man. Even though there's a
Beat
challenge,
stars.
right? And so in thinking about Father's Day and thinking about upcoming Father's Day, then again thinking about family and what does family mean to us as men, because to talk about Father's Day, man, what is your thoughts on it? On and I know you sighed right now, sigh of disappointment, or what's that disappointment? I don't know. Was it disappointment?
I mean, it was like I lost, bro. Just not really knowing what it means. Um, Father's Day, family,
Do you remember
like
ever celebrating like your dad on Father's Day? Like, do you remember ever getting him a card
generically, what I'm saying, like, because of
or
school.
saying it?
He was only around till like I was 13, 14. So like, that was a good time where like in school you were getting cards, you know what I'm saying? But then
Oh, so you recall those
um
moments? That's what I'm saying. Cause I definitely don't recall getting my dad
yeah,
anything when I was a kid. Um,
yeah, my mom
I
is
don't
big on that. My mom
remember.
is a person, she likes to gift,
I,
if she
I
could.
yeah, I remember
Yeah.
saying it to him, and I remember speaking on the phone and calling him and saying it to him. But I don't remember getting him like a card as a teenager. To be honest with you, bro, and that's probably bad. But I mean, I might have gotten him a gift a couple, in my 20s.
Well,
Uh,
but see, as an
but yeah,
adult, when I realized what the relationship was, like, yeah, it may be bad, but that's a lot of like, I had to also think to myself of like how much responsibility. That's what I'm saying. Like, what is the responsibility on me for knowing? Like,
yeah,
I didn't know what that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm learning, and I'm not the only one. So it's like, oh yeah, we learned not to really celebrate
mm,
fatherhood. You know what I'm saying? We learned that it was like expected of you, right? That many men weren't making the choice, right? Like they weren't putting family first. So then when fatherhood came, it was less of a celebration, it was more of a
mm,
job. You know what I mean? Like that, I feel like that was just what was happening culturally, like, what I'm saying, without even anybody really maybe even noticing it because no one really chose that, I feel perhaps. Like, why would we choose that? I asked myself. And I'm like, maybe we didn't really choose it. It was just circumstantial. Like you put yourself in the circumstance of chasing a dream, at least from my perspective of seeing like the American dream and everything that was being chased, like, that puts a strain on your existence. Like, so how can you be happy out here, right? Like, so um I'm not meaning to drift, but I'm
mm,
thinking of like to build a family, fatherhood. I always, I think it was always just too much, like a lot of pressure, which is the irony. I think that's why women are resentful when we think about it, because it's like pressure, nigga. You wasn't even around. The men dip from the pressure. The women got the pressure. They building the family. They doing the cooking. What you
Yeah,
mean pressure? You know what I'm saying? Niggas ain't communicating.
yeah.
Shit.
Well,
Uh,
that's where it gets fascinating for I think for when you think about the day. 'Cause I think you're speaking to, yeah. I think what most of us feel about like the day is not it's like an afterthought, you know.
yeah,
Um, and I mean, there's a part of me that knows it's all BS, right? Because the way Mother's Day is celebrated anyway is wrapped in capitalism, right? It's all about what kind of gifts you're gonna get your mom, and you're sold always something. There's Mother's Day sales. Even though I know the origins of Mother's Day, the intention was not to sell things. Eventually, it became that pretty quickly, and I think the same happened to Father's Day, but it just wasn't a way to sell Father's Day as as easy as it was to sell Mother's Day. Um, because I think what we also know about dads, right, is that I think there's a culture still amongst dad as being known as the least emotional one and the
yeah.
more stoic one, the ones that not that doesn't, and so that's not as affectionate, and so and I do think there are I think there are men at least that I know that experience that kind of father who wasn't affectionate, who didn't show all this same affection or kind of love that their mothers gave. And so I do think that then if you feel that way, if you don't have that connection, then again, there's less an emotional connection to the holiday. So you weren't affectionate with me, it's hard to show affection. I mean, before I continue diving into that, I did want to ask before I forget, do you remember though celebrating any other father that maybe you did respect, um, in the day that you was like, yo, I wanna like this guy's a father, like I don't wanna like get him a little
I guess
something.
as a child, no,
Not
but
even now, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I had to come into it. Like I was very. I felt like I was very. I was spiritually immature as a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, but I'm talking about now,
I
bro. And now we've been
yeah.
adults
Now,
for
now,
more for
not
15 years
right.
now,
That's what I'm saying. So like, yeah, love.
So
15 years. Yeah, right. So like now realizing that, yeah, there's a few like I would give them shout outs now, but I want to run down the list. But yeah, there's a few good
yeah,
fathers to give love to for sure.
I mean,
Um,
maybe that should have
that's
been a
why I get
challenge
the
actually for Father's Day. Give a father, yeah, because we the guys, man. I
yeah.
try to do that myself, and I'm actually I was writing down a list of like little things I want to get for some of the fathers and men in my life who are
My
fathers.
brother-in-law for sure.
Yeah, that's I think some of these guys do a lot. There's a lot of fathers that I know, man, who are also my age, my generation, and I want to, and I think I could do a lot to shower them. I was thinking about that as well, um,
Shout out to Patch.
you know, because it's up to us, right, Rob? I think again we're talking about men's mental health, so even Father's Day, right, is up to us to give it meaning and give it the affection, um, and change that around because I do think fathers are affectionate. There's actually studies that say that fathers are also emotional and affectionate, and that men who weren't as affectionate before, they were motivated to become more affectionate after having kids. So one thing and one research that I do know exists is that fathers are motivated. That having children is a motivating factor for them to make major life changes, lifestyle changes. So I
Mm.
think we could dig into that a little more. Um,
That's funny because that's funny. That's funny. Go ahead, continue.
as men,
I
no,
don't want.
because I know that there's also research, and I had that up a little bit. There's a lot that I have on my phone because for school I was studying. I had to do a thesis paper, and I chose to do mine on working with fathers in social work and trying to create an innovative program on working with fathers in social services. And so I had to do a lot of research on like, so what is the deal with fatherhood involvement? So I have a bunch of PDFs saved on my phone still to this day where I took notes. This is one of the ones that I did look up that I pulled up that just really gives you a sort of a number of father involvement basically, like how many fathers live with their children and how many fathers are actually in children's lives. And one of the things that I actually found most fascinating, and I think a lot more people become aware of, is this stereotype that black men and poor men are not present. And that's actually found out to be fact that wrong. that when studies are actually done, there was found that black men are more present than other kind of fathers, white fathers,
All right,
right?
cool.
White fathers, but then
That's
they
what's
in
up.
Hollywood, the white fathers get to play like the present dad, but in reality, that's not the case. And then I mean, bro, just even consider like
It's
how
all a fever dream over there.
yeah, but even consider like how poor families have to navigate apartment situations sometimes, right? How many couples
Right.
can't include the fathers in the lease because if they do, it's gonna be more, and we know what the rent situation is like now. So imagine, so like how many fathers in a U.S. census like it look like they're not present because they can't be put on the lease because then the lease is gonna make it hard for them financially. So now, of course, some statistics will also be skewed in that regard and make it seem like fathers are not present. But when broken down by time spent and just how involved fathers are, not taking into account whether they live in the home or not, because previous studies used to just look at who lived in the home, and living in the home was a marker for a present dad. But when further studies were done about like actual time spent, including like what activities, and that included like, so are they taking them to school? Are they picking them up from school? Do they take them on the weekends? Then it showed that black men are involved. Um, so I do want to give a shout out to that. However, in spite of that being that stereotype, me breaking that down, unfortunately, the numbers still do say that fathers are less present in general than mothers. So I do still think that that gap, there's that gap that still needs to be worked on. I don't know what the answer is. Yeah, as far
Well,
as that.
wait. What does family mean to you?
Yeah, for
Like,
me,
I don't get lost. Like,
yeah.
cause you see, like, I laugh. Like,
Well, because
we're
my
men, bro. You know,
yeah,
we're men.
yeah,
We potential fathers.
yeah.
It's such a spiraling conversation for me, especially when knowing like my personal experience with it. Like,
Mhm.
it's just so it's what they call it, a wormhole. Like, go down the wormhole with me. I was like, oh, really? You know, but I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear from you because you know what I always think about when I'm thinking about my own journey, and I'm like, damn, like I'm really blessed to have a longtime friend
Yeah.
like you because
Oh.
I was like, although with our similarities in those two instances, like I get to see what it is that you still have family events, you know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Things like that that are very rare for me. Being of like call things things that were out of my control that would happen that
Mhm.
connection and bond was like lost that it's not the norm. You still have that as a norm. I get to see, what I'm saying, like you said, how it is up to us,
Mhm.
right? um and what that could be like, but that how it doesn't really mean that it separates what it feels like on the other side when it's like when they say that your younger self, like what you
Mhm.
experience, how it
Yeah.
feels, as opposed to your older self knowing like, even though it felt like that, this what needs to be done, right? No one
Yeah.
likes to go to work, but it needs to be done because you got to pay bills and you want certain things, you want a lifestyle that doesn't come free, and nothing's free out here, so it's like
Mhm.
things like that.
Yeah. Well, family, I would say to me initially, I will always answer it as like community, and I know that sounds very basic. So I would say family is a group or a unit, a group of people that like um, all share either like a common background, like so blood, family related, or um, and not just that, but I think more than anything, they're bound by the same set of cultural ideas and norms, and that they agree to the similar to the way of being. I think that's your family, right? So like, um, when some people say, and I feel that way, like I love my people, right? So that'll be willing to put your life on the line for somebody, even if that's your neighbor outside. That's not, and I know that there's a lot of people that they're like very quick to look out for like their families more than anybody, but I think for me, family is that when you feel that connection to a group of people, other humans that again you share the same cultural understanding, a same social understanding, right? Same cultural and social norms, and agree on a lifestyle. that's there to preserve each other and survive, then yeah, we family. We don't have to agree on everything what we like, but if we are all with the understanding that we are here to preserve our well-being and each other, that's family. You have my best interest at heart.
That last sentence is big. Like, you know what I'm saying? The preserving each other in a sense,
Yeah,
because that, you know, that's deep, you know, where family gets when they, because never, not everything is sweet, you know?
no,
And so,
no, but as long as we could be able to preserve, I
and
mean,
then you
look,
don't always agree with each other, right? So that's what
yeah,
I'm saying. When we find each other to agree with, us as humanity, you should see it that when we find ourselves not agreeing with each other, Democrat, Republican, like what happens? Like you get a society that doesn't like either side, and it's like mom and dad, and then they
hmm
just don't choose, and then they're indifferent, and that's, you know what I'm saying, that's a bad place to be. You know what I'm saying? When you're just indifferent with, you know, what you should actually care about.
yeah,
Like you said, it's community, it's us,
yeah.
you know.
That's what I think about when I
I
think
like that.
about
I like that.
family, And I know if you was probably to look up the definition, I imagine you see something like similar to what we just outlined and stuff for ourselves in terms of trying to figure it out. Because I think and a call back to Lilo and Stitch, right? The movie is like family is, I do believe, what you make it. I've met a lot of people in my lives, um, that they didn't have they don't have their biological mother or father in their lives. That their families were the friends they made, the friends they made at work, and not by choice because they lost them, but like they had to leave and it wasn't a safe place. Their mother and dad wasn't safe, and they had to go and live with other people and make other people their families, right? And so I know family is not just a blood or ancestry thing. Although I do believe that I think what do does make us in some sense family for real is that ancestral connection, um, as well. But yeah, man, I think family is important to me in that way, and so going back to like my thoughts on Father's Day, that's why it is conflicting because I do give a shout out, I believe, to fathers. I worked with fathers and fought for their cause, and still do, in the background as a social worker, in my field. You know, I fought for programming for fathers. I still do. Whenever I get the chance, I give my dollars to programming that support fathers here in New York City. Um, and that's in spite of knowing a lot of crappy fathers. Right? I could have been like, yo, even though in my life I technically know more shitty fathers than present, well, healthy fathers, like, that's not gonna make me turn against the holiday and be like, nah, I'm gonna fuck these guys, man. I don't really think they deserve it. So again, because my idea of family is you preserve one another, and like even though I know there's shitty fathers, my hope is just that one day they could hopefully wake up and get inspired to actually just take their role as fathers, serious biological dads. Seriously, man.
Yeah, yeah. To me, the disconnect is the spirit. Like it's like if you were like a good mother, but but a shitty sister or something. Like, yeah, I'm saying like I'm looking at you mistreat my aunt or something. Like, and I'm like, oh, that's not nice. That's fucked up. You're my mom. Like, and you don't treat me like that. But you know what I mean? Like, or you're a good father, but you're just a shitty man. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're nice to your kids, but man, you should see what this guy's like when he's on the road and he's heading to work and how he treats the other kids on the train. Like, dang, like, what the fuck? Like,
Well,
you
that's
know what
what
I'm saying?
I'll stop that though, that Rob, because I don't believe that's disconnected. I don't believe you. There's no I someone who's shitty to other people but not shitty to those they love. I think you're a shitty person.
No, yeah,
I would I
I
would think
agree.
you're a shitty
I'm
person,
saying
and
I'm
I think that
disconnected
needs
because
work,
I'm
and that needs
like,
help, and you need to be called out because yeah,
yeah, I don't like
that's
that.
that's
You
not
know what I'm saying?
family.
So
That's not
sometimes, like,
family.
when the holiday comes, I don't like the I don't like the way that sometimes it feels like you know you got to celebrate it because you know or else you're fucked up. Like, come on, you're not grateful for it. You know, I'm like, it's not about not being grateful for the father. No, of course, like I wouldn't be here. Like that's all logic. But if the person is not like, you know what I'm saying, like I still like to hold people accountable. Like I trying to hold myself accountable. Like, what's up? Like, I want to talk about these things. Like, yeah, I mean, like I don't want to just like let time go by
Hmm.
and then I know I didn't talk about it and just hope that that doesn't happen again. Like, because nobody was ready to talk about how hard it was, or we couldn't love each other through how difficult it was. Like, I'm like, that's messed up. Like, even if I'm upset, like you said, preserve, right? Don't go out and try to destroy something. I'm not trying to destroy you. I might be upset, I might be
Mm-hmm.
angry, but I'm not trying to destroy you. For me, it'd be tough, like especially I guess with fathers when it's like, you know what I mean? Because it's more often it's more often you see men being the aggressors out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, you a father. Like, why? How can you be so aggressive and so angry out here, so
Mm-hmm.
uncontrollably violent, and then pick up your daughter, but not see the little baby girl and that woman that you was about to whoop her ass. Like that's somebody's child. Like all of these, everybody out here. You know what I'm saying? That's why it
Yeah.
makes sense that yeah, oh no, fatherhood actually propels men to be better and make changes. But that's why I said the irony in that is that women, when they get in relationships with men, I had to see that they don't want it to be that that's when you decide, right? And you should have been decided have fatherhood be important, and you're making life changes. And yeah, now I feel comfortable to be in a relationship and make a family with you. We there's a men and women. I'm saying it seriously, but that's why I like that
Yeah.
clip that I showed you that it talks about men and women want different things, but Ryan Davis made it comedic. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So I love to comedy and how it has its real
Yeah.
things. Like
Yeah. Did you send it? You ended up sending it to me. I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure on WhatsApp. Yeah, I
Mm,
think so. On WhatsApp. Shit like that. I'm trying to watch things like that speak to this like this real thing that I have inside, but it's like I need it to be funny, man, because this shit is.
well, I mean, with that's why with family, like I and Father's Day coming up, I find that interesting because I struggle with like what do I do when someone doesn't have my same definition, right? When I feel like I'm embodying something, or when the fathers in my life are not embodying the things that I find interesting. I think that's my struggle still. I think it's been a struggle for a while for myself, and just in terms of like my thoughts on things, on like just different lifestyle things culturally. I believe what should be okay, what shouldn't be okay. But yeah, that's why when I'm thinking about like family, and then Father's Day, man, I think about how many of us don't are still not. I think we want that idea, and I think many of us still don't know how to like again abide by that idea, like really live out those principles, really live out what it means. And I think, unfortunately, it's still because too many of us are tied up into what we're reading, what we're seeing, and what we're like consuming in the media, which unfortunately I still don't think push men. It's definitely not selling the idea that as men we could like, you know what I'm saying? We should be more caring, we should be more empathetic, we should be more understanding. I don't know that. Should I play the clip, Orion? Did you want me to play? I see it here.
Go ahead, go ahead. But I don't know if you should play the video or just the audio. But I don't know, up to you. But yeah, I think I just want to see your react. It was funny to me.
I think I should
It
be
was
able to
funny, but
play
then
it,
I saw
but
the irony behind it. I was like, he's being a very like
let me
This
see.
is Vanessa.
reverse psychology. I feel like it's fucking with it, like
His reverse psychology say.
almost in a sense. Watch, go ahead.
Let me see.
I already
No, I
heard him.
learned the key to making a relationship last. I did. You just have to do what you did in the beginning to get in the relationship all the way through. And it works out. And remember how relationships start. A relationship starts because a man lies about who he is. And a woman accepts that. That is what a relationship is. So fellas, you have to keep lying. It's imperative that you lie to her in her face daily. And ladies, you just gonna have to take that. You have to take it. And I know it sounds messed up, I know. But it's because we're different, we love differently. A man's love is possessive. Ladies, we want you. We'll do whatever it takes to get you. And once we have you, only concern is keeping you and keeping other men the fuck away from you. That's it. And ladies, y'all want something different. Women want something different out of love. Women want to be happy. You see how that's different? Fellas, you see how that didn't really include you? Women want to be happy. They make decisions in life based off of their happiness. That's why a woman can have a job making $1 million an hour, and if she don't like the way she feels, go into that job every day. eventually she will quit that job. You see how y'all get that? You see the confusion on the men's faces? Because all they heard was, these niggas pay $1 million an hour. And be like, but what about what they do at the job? I don't give a fuck what they do down there at that job. I'll see you niggas Monday. That's how we work. We're different. But because they prioritize happiness, fellas, that's why they get to be happy. She gets to be happy, all right? And some men have figured this out, and they get to be married a long time. You ever talk to a man that's been married a long time? Ask him what's the key to his marriage. He'll tell you, happy wife, happy life. That nigga don't say nothing about honesty. You've never talked to your grandfather, and he'd be like, keep it real with a young blood. They love that shit.
So I think that was the whole clip, right?
Yeah,
So I think because he has a whole family. He has a family, he has kids. He's trying to build his business. Like Kev on the stage, shout out. You know, this is intellectual comedy where it's like, I'm gonna give you what the world is like. This is how I'm seeing it, right? Like he doesn't do this. He's not living this life and lying to his woman. Like, but this is the irony and the fact that like this is what I see. That's what I see around me. I think he's like being exposing like what he sees around you. Like no, be honest from the beginning. Oh, but you're lying. Oh, so guess what? So the key to I figured it out. The key to keeping your relationship is continue lying. Because you lied from the beginning about who you were. Like, so that's why I was like, man, I love that shit. I hope people don't think to themselves like, yeah, not for real, bro. I didn't lie good enough. You fucking idiot.
I mean, and some might. I think
No,
that's a
no.
problem. I think some might. That would be my fear, man. Because these days with the internet, like anything goes. I was like, I appreciate the bit, and I hope that's what he meant. As far as him not lying, not lying, but again, I do know that people would take that literal.
Right, right, true. Yeah.
I think some men. No, for real, bro. I think some men will take that and agree, and then really take it as at face value and be like, yeah, because it's true. How many he used a very a well-known stereotype that I've and saying I should say not stereotype but phrase and saying which is happy wife, happy life.
Happy life.
Yeah,
Right.
which I think is interesting because again, how many there's studies I think I shared with you that says that yeah, but I like the marriage statistics, right? And then on top of that, like men who stay longer in marriages, that's because they have more to gain from being married than women do, in a way of labor. So, it's kind of it's interesting using some of those bits and things like that. Which again, I like it. I find it funny. I just do. A side of me does cringe a bit because I'm like, how
I
many
feel you,
how
bro.
many men are gonna look at this and take and be like, for real? You're like, yeah. So my lying is working. Yeah, you right. As long as she's
And
happy, as long as she's
but that's
happy,
why that's
like
the fellas.
I'ma
Like the
keep
fellas who are trying to be
lying. You know what
better,
I'm
that's the moment.
saying?
That's the
Like,
moment to not avoid. Like have conversations with them and like be honest with them because I see many a times we just be like, you bugging, bro, you bugging. And we just blow it off. You bugging.
mm,
Nah, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't want to have the conversation.
yeah,
But no, that's it. That's it. It's not gonna get comfortable. It's not. It's this is nasty to swim. You know how many times, but I don't want to engage because I'm
mm,
like, ugh,
yeah,
like that's just how it feels.
yeah,
Like I don't know what people are gonna do. Like what I keep seeing, like there even choices that like people would make even against family because they like it's just like, it's so nasty. Like there's like, where's the love? Like so. Uh, no, man, line's fucked up. Yeah, like, come
yeah.
on, bro. Like,
I, I, I,
yeah,
I I think.
like
I mean,
that's why it was funny to me. Like, yo, the truth, bro. Like, yep, so hypocritical, bro. Like, you get mad when people lie to you. Yeah, you go ahead and lie so that you don't like. What is the point? Like, that's hypocrisy, bro. That's just exactly what everybody up top is doing, man and women. Like, I just think it's beyond it's spiritual. Like.
yeah.
That's why I thought this shit was funny. Like, it need make a joke out of this. Yeah,
Mhm.
like, because these niggas is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but and I think
But I
like,
definitely feel
well,
you, bro.
when we think about lying, I think he could have made that about family, because how many fathers don't lie, have lied to their children and kids or wives about who they're gonna be, or and how many jokes
So,
those and how many jokes exist around that. I can't tell you the number of
yeah,
times, man, I work with people and there's like it's so interesting. Well, and I say men and young men where like the topic of fathers get brought up and it's always uncomfortable or like they say it in passing as if it's not a big deal. Like I remember a couple years ago, I was working with this young men's group, and this one kid just pulls just we having like a regular like conversation introducing like the space and how we usually do, and then one of them taps the other one and it's like, yo, tell him you're not gonna tell him about what happened the other day. And he's like, nah,
Mm.
bro, nah. He's like, yo, I could tell him. You want me to tell him? I'm like, yo, what they talking about right there? He's like, yo, I'll tell him. Let's tell him. And he said,
That's not a
and
that's crazy already.
and then I was like, oh, so what's up? What's going on? And then he just tells me like, yo, we was taking a train the other day. Yo, how we bumped into his father and the train. We bumped into his dad. And I was like, oh shit, that's cool. I haven't you bumped into your dad on the train. And then when I got found out more is because he doesn't see his dad. So at all. Like so seeing him he was surprised. He didn't even know he worked at the MTA. And he was like, yo, you this guy, yo, I'm this he said his name. He was like, yeah, I went up to him, I was like, yo, I'm this kid, I'm this and he was like, yeah, oh yeah, you my son. Oh yeah, you are my son. I was like, oh word and he was like, yeah, so tell him and his other friend is there. But it's funny because I think the interaction it was said like matter of factly and then again but the way it started I know it was the other friend trying to look out for him in the best way he could. I said, yo, tell him what the other day. And I think it's because he wanted him to. I think the other friend knew how it had affected him, but then it turned into a quick joke.
Because that's
Um,
the only way that's the only way.
Cause
Like, I'm guilty of that. I'm so guilty of that.
the other kid was like, yeah,
I'm so
nah. So
guilty
whatever.
of
He
it,
was like,
man.
he was saying it, man. He was trying to not. He was kind of being cool about it. Like, yeah. So I saw him or whatever and shit. I saw him and we talked. It's cool. So and the other kid came. Yeah. And then we pull up to him like, yo. So dad, let me hold down $20. No, I'm just kidding, Mr. Bro. We didn't say that. I'm like, yeah, I know y'all didn't say that to him. But like he had to make a little joke, after the
Yeah.
whole situation. And then he kind of spoke about it and then moved on. So I remember trying to bring it back and saying like, wait, so hold on, how was it seeing your dad? And kind of pausing them there and bringing back that conversation because I already knew in that moment, like, yes, like these are the things I want to give the space for you to talk about these things because it seems so matter of factly, right? You're kind of used to just seeing your dad once in a blue, and it's oh shit, oh look, it's my dad, oh shit, because he's probably used to the lack of presence. And so, but you don't talk about how that's still affecting you as a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, because that's around the age you're supposed to kind of like get over these things and show it differently. So, um,
That's what blows my mind, bro.
so
Wait, that sentence you said right there is not true to anybody who's out there
yeah,
that's going through this. You're not supposed to be 14 getting through this already.
yeah,
You're in it, and you shouldn't even be in it.
hmm
And you're not gonna, you shouldn't think that you should know how to get out of it because you put yourself in it. You didn't do that. Like,
yeah,
I had to get that off, bro. Like, that's what I did to myself, and I was really good at it because people thought I was funny. You know what I mean? So you make people laugh, but nah, bro, nah, man. Like, it's very interesting
yeah,
because when you said that in the beginning, I like that you saw it as the friend looking out. My first initial reaction was like, is that a friend? Is that a friend? Like, because that felt uncomfortable. Like, but you're right because what I mean, I know you and I know you're a safe space and I know that God, even me believing in a higher thing, that situation wouldn't even be available if it wasn't supposed to be safe. Like, what I don't want to misconstrue is that because it's uncomfortable, it's not safe. No, it's like,
yeah. It's
w-
still safe,
be,
and yeah,
yeah, what happened before, not addressing it already, that was not safe. Now I'm here, and because it's being exposed, it's not comfortable, but it is safe. Like, yeah, I mean, like that's the hard thing with certain traumas. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
recognizing that there's a space between being uncomfortable but still safe. Just
yeah,
safe enough to sit in that discomfort until you get comfortable. Um,
that's very tough.
yeah,
That's a
so and that's just a small moment, man, of like things I've experienced in the past, and I have the privilege of seeing little moments like that to see how other men, not only young men but older men, tr- speak to that like past pain or impact that they felt from like not having a dad or having a dad who was present but not really, or having a dad who was
yeah.
abusive, and just basically not a healthy definition of a
I wonder how
father.
common that is because I feel like I
Um,
don't know if that's like a Bronx thing, like just bumping into your dad.
Well, maybe. I mean, it just sucks, man. You know, you think about because again, this is there's also a lot of families who were split because of the system, right? So many who didn't intend on being away from their children and they just are, and then it becomes a thing that they're used to, and then yeah, people get shipped
Yeah. Oh man.
off, lose
Love to
contact.
those people, bro. That have you been seeing that on your algorithm, man? My heart goes out to those like the families being torn apart. Just out, I think all of these immigration things
Oh,
going
ice,
on.
yeah, man, it's terrible.
That shit hurts, bro.
It's
And
terrible.
like there's things going on, man, man. That
That's
shit
how,
is
yeah,
sad,
yeah.
bro. Fathers and mothers have, yeah,
Have to
it's
split.
just seeing them
Yeah,
hurt, like just
yeah,
seeing like different people get taken away, and I'm just like, nah, that don't feel good, yo. Like,
yeah,
yeah, it's tough.
yeah.
But my heart goes out to those people, man. You know,
Yeah, no, I mean it's a terrible, and I'm again glad you kept that in mind because it's still happening in the background. Again, I do. That's why sometimes I get annoyed with like I think back about some of the fathers I met who kind of give up on like well I've already they is kind of they sit in this mentality of like well I kind of already been a crappy father and that's already my perception of me so I'm gonna just keep being this person. They, it disappoints me and I've met a lot unfortunately a lot of fathers who kind of carry that who say, "Well, I pay child support, so that's enough, and that's it." Well, I'm already the absent father. What else you want me to do? My kids don't want to talk to me, and things like that. And it's like it's disappointing to hear because there's a lot to focus on, and I think there's a lot you could that these fathers could look around in the world to see that like, yo, value that you even have access to your child, and you're choosing not to even reach out, even if they don't want to talk to you, you can still reach out to them because how many families are being ripped apart, and you can't even send a text message because you don't know where they went. So there's a lot of fathers in a position that you can still even text your kid, and because of whatever
yeah,
reason you're choosing not to, or just because there is a rift, and because your child last told you they don't want to talk to you, you still like, well, they don't want to talk to me, so that's on them. Like you brought them here, you know.
That's why I'm big on that. That's the mind too, bro. That's
Mm,
why it's very different. There's a difference between the mind and the spirit. Like it's big. Like if it came to you, then my question is, why didn't you do it? Right? Like then maybe they don't hit you up, but one day, like you don't find it a coincidence that it's been like let's say 3 years. That's like almost 1,000 something days getting to there, and you just thought of them, but you didn't hit them up. You just thought of them. You didn't hit them up. Like I'm like, there's no coincidence in that. But your mind made you believe
that
something that your
else,
spirit trying to
yeah,
talk to you.
yeah,
That's why I say that's why I'm big on like realizing that like I get it, but that's what this shit is a battlefield, bro. Like you know how many times I wanted to do what I did today on the other days, but I didn't get to do it because I spent too much time
living
figuring it
here,
out here.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You said it. You said a
It's
word, man. That's crazy.
it's great. So
Think
you
I
know,
think a lot of men can relate to what you just said right there, man. Shit, that you could have
yeah,
did
but
what you did today, the other day, because
and that's big when you realize, like, damn, I wanted to, I really did. Why didn't I? And it's like, yo, you in your way, man. You in your own way for those things. And that actually, to me, when I want to think about what brings family, you say preserving things, and even masculine, like, just like not even when I say masculinity, I don't ever like
I
to
think you
give
could
it
say
to men. It's
masculinity.
like
Yeah,
because it feels like women do that too. Like, just do it anyway. Just
yeah,
show up. Like it's speaking to you, do it. Like show up. I know it's hard, but one of these days, like make that shit happen and do it. Like one of these days, like don't quit on yourself. Stop talking to
yeah.
yourself
So,
that way.
yep, yep, yep.
That's why I try to make sure I'm just not talk. It may look like I'm quitting, but like there's a big difference of like feeling tired and then taking rest, and then yeah, maybe it looks like you're failing, but I'm very big on not like condemning myself and being like shitty to myself and because I feel
There's
like
no point.
that's what
Yeah,
happens.
yeah.
People, then when you're doing that, now I believe you can't really control when it happens, then now you give it out to people. That's why sometimes I have grace with people because I'm like, man, if you did that to like like what are you doing to yourself? Like, you know what I mean?
If you
Like
did
I
that
know
to
what
me,
that feels like. You know what I mean? Like, nah, you gotta chill out.
that's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah, man. But
But yeah,
this
anybody
is
watching, man, love to y'all. Yo,
yeah
put
for
in the chat
sure,
what
man.
family means to you.
Yeah, man.
What does family mean to you? Your whole like your journey, whatever you're free to share, man. Because we'll definitely read it, and you never know. Like if you want to be in the conversation, we'll definitely tune in next. We'll have a conversation about that, maybe a whole episode.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny you said that because I was looking. I'll be on Reddit now sometimes. Well, now more than before, and they usually have their their subreddit, which is I don't know, I guess a community, I guess you could call it, or anyway, it's a separate space called Ask Men. And so someone
Oh,
posted like, "Yay, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. Like to the men out there, how are you doing?" And somebody wrote like, a comment, and they wanted answers from men only. But so it's a woman that posted it. She put, "I'm a woman, but I generally care about this. Just want to say you matter. Your mental health matters. How are you feeling these days?" And then I just read lightly through a lot of the comments. This was posted like 2 days ago. And
mm,
surprisingly, even looking through the first few top comments, a lot of, it's a lot of very like, "I'm doing all right. I'm okay. I'm pretty down. It's been heavy." And, you know,
no trolling.
nah, no trolling.
Oh wow.
A lot of chilling. It could be worse. Well,
You need like a hallelujah sound
no.
button
I
for
mean,
that,
if
huh?
you haven't been on Reddit a lot,
Hallelujah.
there tends to be a lot of mature enough conversations on Reddit, a little less
Oh,
trolling.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, especially for
okay.
things like this.
Okay, good. I'm expecting trolling all over the board, I gotta tell you. Whenever
Um,
I step outside, I'm like, somebody about to troll me, and I know how to
yeah, but
that ass.
it was fascinating because again, I think that this is on some men's mind. I thought about reading through some of that, how like again we try to still keep it together. I read a lot of that, the theme of men being like, "I got this, I got this. Shit is rough, but I'll push through." In the comments and yeah, but it's also I also recognize it's tough. You just don't want to air out too much of your stuff to a bunch of strangers online. So I know it's tricky to like really express what you're feeling on a
That part.
platform. But I think it's good that someone even asks and that folks are engaging, and that it seems like the men who are responding are being as honest as they could be. But again, it just I think to me also stands out that like okay, so we do want to talk. A lot of us do want a
Mhm.
space to share to just talk about what they're going through, and again without judgment, without like feeling like believing someone's gonna push back, um, or judge them for whatever reason. Again, I just gotta go with the judgment because I know a lot of men tend to carry a lot of shame when it comes to vulnerability. So and that sh-
Yeah, man, that's the word, y'all.
and
Don't shame yourselves, y'all, man.
and that shame,
It's tough.
yeah,
It's big.
that shame could do a lot. Could do a lot. So you know,
Yeah.
it I think we got some things, man, here that's why I wanna go back to like our challenge, from the top of this that we were doing, of this live, just showing folks,
Hmm.
telling folks to kind of like, if you're listening to this, try this challenge with us, man, because it
Hmm.
is about getting better, it is about improving. We talked about a lot on this one, especially ending it with fathers and our relationship with Father's Days, which I will want to go back to. That's why I didn't get too even long winded about Father's Day because I do have further thoughts. But hopefully we could do something around Father's Day, which is June 14th, to get back to
Okay.
this. Is it June 14th or the 15th? I might be bugging out. June 15th, I think, this year.
I'm not sure, bro.
So yeah, man.
I'm not celebrating.
Shout out to Rob, but let's celebrate for the fathers that do deserve it, man.
Yeah, yeah,
At the
look,
very
my
least, at the
mom.
very least, at the very least.
Definitely, yeah. Listen,
Let's do our part
most
as
definitely, yeah, warm my
non-dads.
heart. I tell you, that's what I do for as a man. As a man, what I like to do out here, and as my
I want you to buy
what
them a
God
card.
gave me.
I want you to buy a father a card, Rob,
Yeah,
or
you know
send him
what I
some
do too?
flowers.
Show them love, like let them see like how much it warms my heart. Say something sweet, say something like show that vulnerability because it really does feel like that. Like when I see good fathers, I always just it warms my heart, man. You know what I'm saying? Like no matter how, because I got to be honest about the bittersweetness of it. Like
Mm-hmm.
missing the connection is real.
Mm-hmm.
Missing the connection is real, but there's no bitterness. Like for me, when I look at them, that's what I love about it. Like, yeah, I definitely, on God, I want to bring that. Like, I want to receive that. Like, put me in a position to see beautiful fathers doing things, not on just on that day. Yeah, I mean, because let that be my challenge to be present enough to know like that man deserves a compliment. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, love, love.
Yeah, man. But anyway, man, how you feeling? Cause I think for me, it's about 1:30 actually. An hour and 30. It's 9, so I'm
My
glad we
boy,
came
you
up
said
on a good
1:30. I
time.
said no, it's not late. Yeah.
No, no, an hour and 30, an hour and 30. So,
Fuck
yeah,
it. You on
man,
Spain
okay.
time?
Nah, nah, nah. I'll be crazy. Yeah, shit. I wish I could do it.
Yeah, love to
I need
that.
to get me to Spain.
Nah, I feel good. I feel good. You know, my mind is thinking like, word. I just didn't even that ass like you said Father's Day, and I now remember. You know why I just came like, oh, deja vu is because we've been doing the podcast for a year, and we were on talking about it last year,
Yep. Yep.
and I just don't talk about that shit until we're on the podcast talking about. Yeah, that's just yeah. I think that's
Right.
always that's just been a thing that's been hard for me. Like sometimes it feels like, I had to heal myself to know like and acknowledge like that shit is, the truth behind it being whack of like having to be a good not having to be but choosing to be and wanting to be uh um a representative of something that you didn't get the privilege of, seeing yourself firsthand of like, feeling it like, oh, I got that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't feel like I had a male mentor, saying somebody who took me under the wing. I've spoken this before, so
Mm.
I always think about like that. That shit is I feel like men, what I'm saying, probably men who are angry are probably angry at that because I had to not be angry at that. I feel like if I would even allow myself to be angry, I would joke about things,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that I wouldn't allow myself to feel that I'm not angry, I'm sad. You know what I'm saying? So I could never tap into with people who were angry because I wouldn't allow myself to feel sad. I would
Mm-hmm.
joke about shit. So yeah,
Yeah, man. It's
that'll be a
again,
challenge.
it's a coping, man. It's that coping mechanism that I think we all just try to embody, and so totally understandable, man. Totally understandable why it's been tough. And again, it's all about that awareness, all about hopefully hoping we can make that change. And again, as for our challenge, I'm gonna keep it posted. I mean, it's gonna give me something to look forward to. I know that for sure. So I hope the same for you, Rob.
Sure, for sure.
But I think we can wrap up now, man. I'm pretty hungry actually. I think we could get some food. And plus, it's
Yeah,
nine,
man,
man. So
up
it's
to
been a
that.
pleasure, man.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
sun's down, y'all. We
Mr.
gotta get out of here when the street
Hagen.
lights is up. We in the Bronx.
She,
We're in the Bronx. You gotta make
yeah,
moves when the sun is up.
yeah. All right, y'all, man. Peace. Till the next one.